morning all. How we all doing? Happy Friday. Happy Labour Government Day. We got a new government. Wonder what's going to happen. Certainly nothing's happening in the forex markets. They're not interested. Morning, Ming. Peter, extraupdate.news. Peter. Another Peter. Peter. Wojciech. Morning is met. Paul. Beginia, Mumo, Saril, Evil. How we doing? So, basically today we've got Labour taking over government. Obviously, it's nothing to do with finance. That's the Bank of England. But they do have, obviously, a big influence on finance, depending on what happens with their monetary policy, with paying for stuff, etc., etc. So we'll wait and see if there is any impact, but so far it doesn't look like the market's paying any attention to it. So it's more a case of they will change things at some point, possibly, and then it will have an impact. A bit like the Liz Truss. Let's decide to run the country in a completely different financial way. Oops, we've collapsed. Let's not. That type of thing. But I doubt the Labour government will do something like that. You never know. But anyway, very, very little impact, as you can see, on the pound today with that. Morning, Paolo. So we start off with overnight news. The market's pretty quiet overnight. Obviously, it was a bank holiday yesterday, 4th of July in America, so there was no US trading. There was nothing very exciting from Japan overnight. Suzuki here, monitor stock and FX trends urgently. So it's the same sort of stuff, but they're not doing anything, so not really believing anything they say anymore. But yeah, nothing else news-wise much overnight. So the yen, if we quickly look at that, I've just done some DD control on that this morning. So I've taken that position off and closed half of that one. So the average is still in the same place, pretty much. My average was roughly there, excluding commission. It's now roughly there. So I still can't really get out of this trade, but it is coming down nicely. And the reason I've taken a part of this off today is because it's non-farm payroll day. So if we get negative numbers from Canada and the US, this is going to come down and I'm going to exit the whole position with whatever. If it goes up, I've reduced drawdown. So basically I've closed out half of that position. So I've just reduced the drawdown, and obviously I can add in another position again up there. If it rallies, as we've just seen Suzuki saying this morning, they are monitoring the FX markets and they will do something about it at some point. But yeah, so that's what I've banked this morning. So just banked 0.5%. And done some DD control, just keeping on top of that yen because I don't want to be in it. So ADRs today, there's nothing to look at all. Weekly ranges, we've got some hits, but they've already played out. So really, it's just preparing for the non-farm payroll as much as you can. You can't really prepare for something that is completely random. We'll send the market wherever it wants to go. So basically, 1:30 this afternoon, Canadian unemployment rate and the US unemployment rate both come out. We're forecasting unemployment to go up or remain the same. Both of those results are bearish. So there is a good chance that we'll get a drop today in the US and the Canadian dollar. But we'll obviously have to wait and see what the news says. Non-farm employment change, obviously, if that comes out as a massive green and that comes out as a red, the market will spike because it pays attention to that figure, and then it goes, that doesn't mean anything, because that's what they're actually paying attention to. So they use non-farm payroll basically to execute large orders. It's nothing to do with direction. So if you see the numbers coming out red and it flies upwards, doesn't mean anything. It's just execution of orders. There's liquidity in the market. They use it. So it's just whipsaw, and everybody tries to trade it. So there's no ADRs hit today. Very quiet. You will have a quiet morning typically. Quite surprised we've had this much movement, to be honest, this morning from the yen pairs. This is obviously Japanese purchasing because all yen pairs are moving at the same time. So there is money coming into the yen this morning. We'll see if that continues. May do, may not. We've had a little bit of a movement on the Swissy, or rather against the Swissy yesterday, which has undone itself. So as you can see, there's very, very little moving at the moment. You're not going to get a massive amount of movement today because we're waiting for non-farm payroll. So this morning's session is going to be very much holding pattern type thing within ADR typically. And then obviously we'll move the market when non-farm payroll kicks in. So that's 1:30 this afternoon. We've got Ivy PMIs at 3 o'clock for the CAD, and Lagarde is speaking again later. But Lagarde has been speaking every day this week, so she's not going to be saying anything new today than she said all week. So it's very unlikely we'll get any impact off of that, and that's it. Monday is a completely dead news day, so there's nothing to do on Monday. We've got Powell testifying on Tuesday, so there's no scheduled news for Tuesday. And then we've got the New Zealand interest rate. So there's a possibility of that popping up to a 5.75. Doubt it very much, but it could do. We've got Powell again then on Wednesday. So next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, there is potential directional change on the US dollar. Again, I've said this every month and it's never happened. Yeah. So highly unlikely he's going to say that we're going to bring rates forward. They're still going to be next year at the moment, but you never know. We've also got the CPI for the US the next day. So next week is a massive US week, as you can see. It's all literally US. We've got the PPI there. We've got the CPI there. We've got Powell testifying on 2 days. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all US dollar, nothing else happening apart from the New Zealand dollar rates. So that's next week. So nothing particularly to talk about overnight with news. RSIs, there's a few extensions which I'll whiz through this morning, but this week, as you can see, how long we've got to market open? 3 minutes. Seeing what's going on this morning. Wait one sec. Yeah, it's not a lot of movement. That's fine. So, yeah, as you can see this week, we've got a couple of RSI extensions there, but we are very much doing that at the moment. If you look through all the pairs, just put a line on for the weekly start. Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So slight upward move on the Aussie dollar, not a lot. Yen, obviously, it's a bit difficult to tell with the yen, but obviously it's been weak. We know that. But Aussie dollar, ever such slight gains. CAD Swiss gone nowhere. All the yen pairs, very, very, very little movement this week. It's been one of those weeks where we've not really gone anywhere. Euro, absolute no movement against the odd. Ever such a slight gain. CAD. So, there's nothing happening this week. It's just been a dead week. As my P&L sort of testifies. Oh, wrong chart. So, yeah, obviously, yen. If I take the yen out of the equation, it's been a good week. I'm up 3.5% odd on the week, and then obviously had to take drawdown control on the yen. So, but yeah, stuck in everything. Yeah, a lot of this stuff I've been in or got into this week, it's just not moved anywhere. We haven't had enough movement really to bank today, bank this week. So, bit of a flat week. US dollar obviously has dropped this week, so that is the loser of the week, and obviously there is a potential for that to change as well. This afternoon we could have even more loss coming on that US. So we'll wait and see what happens later. TP on that one already. That's going to go into drawdown. Can't get out of that. Stuck in everything. Literally just stuck. in everything at the moment. Anyway, right. So let's watch the open. So FTSE pre-market range is in play, and so is the DAX. So let's see if we get some movement this morning. Morning, Neo, JC, Gregors. Did not stream. Sorry, Lee did not stream for some time. How did the FTMO challenge go? I'm still in it, but not going well. Down 3.4%. So I got up to 4-ish, about 4%, and then had to take a load of losses on the yens. Loads of stuff hit stops basically. Everything actually. New Zealand CAD hit stop, Aussie Swiss franc and yen basically. So more of the story, as I've been saying for quite a while, Swiss franc and the yen just not conforming or playing nicely at all with any strategy at the moment, because they're just doing all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So yeah, basically they put me into drawdown. So I think what I'm going to do with this account is just go hell for leather on it, basically, and just see if I can get some large lot size on and just get it over the line. Oh, big move just came in on the end there. Well, I say big move. A lot of volatility coming in US dollar yen. Look, flicking about all over the place. Well, that was, but large order just came in there. We'll keep an eye on that. So yeah, I'm not sure what I want to do with it really. Like I said, it's prop. Yeah, I can only work within the constraints of what their drawdown limits are. And when a strategy doesn't work, somebody posted in the Telegram group, I think it was yesterday or something, their prop evaluation's just gone and wiped out all their profits, which it will do because you're working within the constraints that they set. So they said that I can't have more than X% drawdown a day, which has limited my positions. So the positions that have played out that have been brilliant would have made me a fortune. I couldn't take them because of exposure, etc., because I can only have 5% drawdown in a day. You know, so it's very, very hard to pass prop because you are completely gambling with market movement. So this is what happens. P&Ls go up, P&Ls go down. If you take trades and you get 5 in a row that go wrong, which they do very regularly, you'll lose 5% of your account. So that's what's happened, as usual. But it's not a problem if you're position trading or you're trading your own capital, because you don't have to work within the constraints that they set, do you? So I'm just watching this yen just to see what that was. It's just a big order coming by the looks of things. Nothing exciting. Right, DAX is broken long, FTSE is broken short. Not a lot of movement this morning. A bit quiet. Big old spreads on the FTSE again this morning, so there's very light liquidity. Terrible spreads this morning. Morning, Baggy. Morning, Grateful Buster. So if anybody's got any pairs they want to look at, let me know. And we can obviously have a look at those. But I'm not planning on doing a big analysis this morning because everything can change this afternoon, obviously, with non-farm payroll. So where we are at the moment, obviously, because it's a US news event, absolutely anything can happen this afternoon, and where everything is right now has got nothing to do with technicals. If the news comes out massively bullish or bearish, this is just going to fly. So all these RSI extensions, Aussie dollar is very extended. We know it's had a good run and it is bullish, so we should be longing it. So no surprises there. Swiss franc has been very, very weak. That is starting to power up. So euro US dollar is extended and US dollar CAD is extended. So I'll be in both of those for short. So there's a short on there from that RSI extension. It's still extended. So put target down there, but these will probably go into drawdown this afternoon. And US dollar CAD extended to the downside. That will probably go into drawdown because I'm expecting negative news basically today, but it might not be. So those are your only two RSI extensions. That's extended and embedded down there as well. Obviously, we've got this one particularly is going to be the most volatile this afternoon because we've got the unemployment rate for the Canadian and the US released at exactly the same time. So if you get one going bull and one going bear, the US dollar CAD obviously is going to go very, very, very fast. If they both go bull, obviously stronger currency wins. So wait and see. So there's your 5-minute opening range in FTSE and DAX. Not a lot of movement this morning. Bit lackluster market. As I say, it tends to wait around for non-farm payroll day. So there's no point in making large stock orders in any sectors or anything, because obviously you're waiting to see what the US dollar is going to do this afternoon. If it drops, you want to be buying more. If it pumps, you want to be selling more. So I don't really want to place any orders. Absolutely deadlit. Very, very quiet this morning. So target wise on these today, we're up in a propulsion gap on the DAX. So we've got that high and that high upside within ADR today, which is also a weekly level. And ADR is there on the DAX, which is 3-week high. So if it breaks long today, you've got 125 ADR roughly to the upside room on the DAX, and the FTSE, you want to be watching those areas for limit orders. Downside can go wherever, they can both go wherever they want. So ADR easy. That area of support there, that propulsion gap. So the target to the downside would be that propulsion gap there, which is these highs. But I think looking at this at the moment, you'll be lucky if you hit either of those. There's just no volume today. Might be a nasty little hedge to get out of. But if one hedges and one gets to the value of the hedge, I'll just shut both really today, I think. US session this afternoon. Be very careful trading it. Obviously, all the liquidity will have been done by the open. So the news is all hitting at 1:30. You'll find things like the S&P. I've still got a trade on from yesterday on the S&P. Might as well close that then. Oh yeah, because the market shut early yesterday, didn't it? I forgot. So I won't be trading this afternoon. Obviously, 1:30, you'll have a whacking great candle in. So all the liquidity will have been done at non-farm payroll. And then basically by 2:30 by the open, there won't be an awful lot of liquidity left. So usually the US session is a little bit lackluster on days like this. So not really worth trading in the afternoons. Morning, Maggie. I think I've already said morning. Wadani party, Somali trending. What? No idea what that means. How's the RSI2 forward testing account doing? Not very well at the moment. I'm not really, the forward testing account I've kind of stopped because it's not the way I want to trade it. So I was just seeing what the pitfalls are of trading on the hourly chart, and it's obviously high drawdown. So it's done all right, but it's made a loss. But it's the 4-hour I think I'm going to use for RSI2. I still haven't had a chance to go through the results in detail yet, but it seems to me that 1 hour, 4-hour seems to be the best time frame to enter on. The spacing are around about 0.75 to 1 ADR. And targeting, that's the bit I still haven't really decided on. So getting out of trades at 1.5 ADR, 1.5% is what I'm going to go for. So basically anything gets into 1.5% drawdown gets shut. Spacing entries at 0.75 to 1. So really basic what we're saying is you won't have more than 2 trades on at a time if that goes against you. And then we're looking for a target, and that's the bit that I'm struggling with. So looking for 0.5 to 1%, I think, is going to be the sweet spot. But I need to run more testing on different settings. I've put a couple of portfolios together at the moment, which seem to be working well. But the problem is, as I said before, they all work well, and it's struggling with what I think I'm going to be comfortable with. So I'm not sure. But yeah, with the Position Trader EA, I'm not sure whether I'm going to use the Position Trader EA or I'm going to use the new EA that I've built. Because obviously I've built, the whole reason I've been doing all this is for somebody else. I've been building an EA so that they can test their version of the strategy. And their version is really good. Just trades daily time frame though. It literally doesn't have a signal. It is a condition entry only. So basically every day it checks if what the RSI level is and it just buys it or it sells it. That's it. There's no signal. There's no strength. So it's a much simpler system. And I like simple because you're back testing in simple systems. There's basically his system has one condition. That's it. One entry condition, one exit condition. Yeah, doesn't get any simpler than that. So you know your back testing is pretty much 100% what you're going to get in the future because there is no variations there. It's basically, is it? Yes, buy it. Is it in profit? Yeah, sell it. That's it. Simple as that. Really doesn't get any simpler. So I'm still undecided. I'm really torn. It's a great strategy. It doesn't matter what you do with it. It works. But I'm just struggling to find out what I want to do. So, but the hourly time frame makes really good gains, but also makes really big losses. And the problem with the Position Trader EA with the version that I tested was the entries were too close together. So again, I need to do more testing on that hourly time frame on distance of entries. So 1/4 to 1/2 an ADR is really the minimum distance you want to be getting in at. So it's still being played with. Okay, so I hedged on the FTSE. We've got a long break on the DAX. So if I can get the DAX up to 3R, I will close the DAX and close the FTSE hedge and just take a small profit today. Luckily, I've just banked that S&P profit as well because obviously the market closed early. I had that running. What happens? So yeah, so nobody's got any FX pairs I want to look at. That's fine. No movement on the US dollar yen. So we've had a big structure break. Reverse alerts gone in on the US dollar yen. We had that news, bad news for the US. It pulled back into propulsion, did the gap fill, and then we've put in a new leg down, pulled back, new leg down, pulled back, new leg down. So today we should be going up. If we get negative news, next leg's going down. So it does look like we are starting to get some weakness showing through in that US dollar, but equally, we're also starting to see a little bit of strength coming back into the yen. So remember what I said yesterday about climbing up the stairs and falling down the elevator shaft? You can quite often undo at least 50% of these moves within 48 hours. If we get a big drop on that US this afternoon, I think we might get some strength coming into that yen. So you could see yourself back down here on yen pairs in the next couple of days, today, or unlikely would be today. Might do 225 ADR, you never know, but early next week. So we got some strength starting to show. So this afternoon, obviously, anything you've got in profit, basically anything you've got in profit is probably worth banking. So I've got another at the moment, $800 I can bank on New Zealand dollar CAD, which I will bank because obviously it's Canadian dollar news. So that will go down there this afternoon before the news comes out. Anything you've got at kind of break even-ish as well, just watch exposure, and anything that's sort of break even-ish is worth probably just getting rid of, just in case, because obviously if it goes massively into drawdown, you will be stuffed with it potentially for a bit. But it's unlikely. I don't think we're going to get a massive shock on news this afternoon. I think we might get a little uptick in unemployment with the US, which will obviously be bearish, but I don't think it's going to be a massive shock today. So if you look at the, this is always a really good clue here. On the Wednesday, the unemployment claims came out as forecast, and the employment change came out pretty much as forecast. So usually when we get no shocks there, we often get no shocks here as well. So I get the feeling this is probably going to be no more than 0.1% out. Doesn't mean the market won't move dramatically on it, but I don't think we're going to get any real big ones this afternoon. But we'll see. We'll definitely get a whipsaw, obviously. But morning, Amy. Got 2-hour break on the DAX. Be nice if we can get that 3-hour today. If we can get that propulsion gap filled, that would be good. Bring that target down ever so slightly. Just going to put both of these down at the same level, just basically to get out of this. I want to try and bank the hedge, basically. So the hedge is $500. So if we can get a TP at $500 there, it just means that that's paid for that. I can just walk away with a break even on the morning, because this market's got no volume in the FTSE today. Wondering if they're worried about what's going on with the election and they're just being uber cautious, or whether it's to do with non-farm today, but it's dead. Still no movement on the yen. So everything else this week, as you can see, there's nothing in very big drawdown at all. If I hadn't got into the US dollar yen, it'd be a very, very flat week this week. So just a case of waiting till next week, really, for the US moves. So that's all I've got for you this morning. There's nothing much else to discuss really today. Obviously, it's just sitting here waiting this morning in rotation for the news at 1:30. So be prepared for that. Make sure you bank anything that you've got in profit. If you haven't, if it goes against you, you can't get it back. But if it goes against you, you can add it back in. So with that one, for example, that New Zealand dollar CAD that I just showed you, this is in profit. So I'll take that off, bank it, and then if it pushes down, I'll add that position back on again. I've got a chance to bank it twice. If the market goes that way, that one moves into profit. Job done. Yeah. So just bank anything you've got green ahead of non-farm. It's just no point in letting that profit disappear. Put it in the bank. You can use it for drawdown control. Come on, DAX. Like watching paint dry this morning, isn't it? Morning, Steve. If I didn't say that, I can't remember if I said that already. What was I going to say? Brain's gone. No, can't remember what it was. Wasn't important, obviously. Oh, next week. So next week, basically, I'm going to try and stick to the same live room schedule as we had before. We've got no bank holidays, basically, next week. Or anything. So it will go back to normal next week. Obviously, we've had a bit of a disrupted week this week with the US bank holiday, but I'm just going to go back to normal. So we'll just be doing the 8, 2:15, 8, 2:15, and then the 7:45 again on Friday next week. So there we go. TP's hit. So DAX, nice clean break, 3R pretty much today. So 580 banked, 507 hedged. So that pays for that. Walk away with $80 odd, pound in this case. Well, 600 banked rather there. Profitable morning, but unfortunately just a little bit of a hedge on the FTSE. So I'm not expecting too much movement for the rest of this morning. So I would imagine this will get to a point where it will just go into rotation ahead of a non-farm. So do you think the French election will affect? You seem to have paused and frozen there, Virginia. Will affect the markets, yeah. So obviously this weekend we've got the elections results on Sunday for the French parliamentary elections. So if you look at the euro and what happens, basically, let me take that line off so we can see it. So you don't get many gaps in forex anymore. Just doesn't really happen. But when there is a kind of potential world changing of sort of event, like France going, do you know what? We're not actually going to keep this government anymore. You can decide. We get a gap. Yeah, we also had a gap there. Gaps get filled. Yeah, gaps get filled. Always. So there is a good chance that we'll get a gap because we're going to get an election result in France when the market is closed. So with your euro pairs as well this weekend, if you've got anything in profit, probably worth just sticking it in the bank. It could go your way. It could go against you. You don't know. So as you can see, the last 2 weekends or 2 out of the last 3 weekends, we've had gaps put into the market and it's an election result Sunday. So yeah, there's a likelihood we will get a gap. No idea whether it'll be up or down. But uncertainty tends to be negative for currency. So don't forget as well, obviously, with this one specifically, we're going to have a big spike of like 100 to 150 ADR or so this afternoon, as we did there, look, before the gap. So, just be cautious over the weekend. What we don't want is a gap and go, which can happen when something changes. You could suddenly find you gap up to here, for example, and then the market just runs away. It will eventually come back and do the gap fill at some point, but gaps in FX don't tend to last very long. As you can see there, that was 48 hours. That was 3 days. It was on its way back before we had the news, but so if we do get one, it will get filled, usually. So wherever you close today, wherever it gaps to, it will get back to that close at some point. But every now and again, you get a gap and go because something massively fundamental has changed. So did you share your H1 market mean reversion set file in Discord? Don't know. Morning, Yotko. I don't know. But H1 set file for what? There's loads in Telegram. I don't know about Discord. I might have done. Do a search in Discord for .set. If you find something, it's there. If not, it's in Telegram. I don't know what set file you're talking about, so yeah, pass. Right, that's all I got for you this morning. So there you go. DAX is completely undoing itself. So we'll probably do that until 1:30. So so basically I'll be back Monday. We'll obviously have a look at everything coming up for the week. News-wise, we'll do a full analysis of all the FX pairs, see where everything is, see what's happened over the weekend, and obviously get ready for that US CPI number next week, which is and the New Zealand dollar next week, which is going to be the big ones. So we will see where we go, but just all waiting for something to happen this afternoon. So, all right. So anything you need, I'll be in Discord or Telegram. And I'll be working on the RSI2 strategies analysis today. So hopefully I'll have something I can put live next week, but I've just got to decide what I'm going to do. So I have had a chat with the guy that I built the EA for about potentially putting it up as well and giving him a commission sort of thing. But we're not sure because he's going to be selling a few EAs with his strategies. So obviously, because I built it and I know him, it's very, very similar to the RSI, to the position trader EA, but it's different. So I've kind of agreed with him I won't adjust my EA to do what his does because it wouldn't really be fair. So I might have another EA coming out, but what I might do is just sell it cheap because it's really simple. So there's not a lot to do in it. But if I'm going to use that strategy, that version of the strategy, then obviously I want to be able to offer it as well. So, but we'll see. I'll let you know an update on that. That's why I'm in a bit of a quandary as to what to do with it at the moment because there's too many versions at work. Anyway, why are there 2 CPIs next week for us? There aren't. There's only one CPI. Right, on Thursday. There's PPI on Friday. CPI. There's only one CPI. There's only one CPI, and good luck to England. I might be very, very sad on Monday. Yeah, the new EA is better. A new EA is better. PTEA is so simple and easy to use. Yeah, I can't really say too much about exactly how this EA works, his one, because it's not for me. But I'm trying to shoehorn him around to me being able to do it as well. But obviously, because he's making a commercial business out of it, and I just like sell stuff on the side, I don't want to ruin his money pot, if you like. But it is a very, very good version of my, it's basically it's the same thing, really. Very, 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 very similar, but it does do different closes and manages risk differently. So, but it gets very much the same result. So there is another one on July the 17th. That's for the CAD. Oh, July the 17th. That's the yearly. Oh. There is. I think that's a mistake. June, May, April, March. June the 12th, May the 15th, April the 10th. Yeah. July the 17th. Yeah, that's yeah, July the 17th is the next release. They've put it onto the 11th when the monthly is coming out. I don't know. We'll have to see what we get next week. But yeah, that is a mistake. One of those is wrong. 130 yearly. Oh, it doesn't go far enough forward, so I can't check on Financial Juice. They don't go far enough forward. But yeah, they've got it down for next week as well, yearly. I don't know. That's a weird one, that is. That's obviously they don't release it twice. So it's only released once a month. So I don't know why that's there. But yeah, there's a cock up. Pass. We'll find out next week. Right. Okay, everyone, have a good weekend. Enjoy the football. And anything you need, let me know in Telegram or Discord. Other than that, I will see you guys next week. Have a good one.